Hey, what's going on, friends and family? My name is Skylent, and today we're going to be talking about my picks for the best upcoming Pokemon likes. There's a lot of drama with, the new Pokemon's announcements and things, and I think a lot of us are starting to peel away just a little bit from the mainline series to look at some competitors. And for a while, this has been the case. A lot of us have been playing ROM hacks and, like the Pokemon MMO stuff, and of course, literal other full Pokemon-style games such as Monster Hunter Stories and a few other light RPGs and half-hearted attempts that we've really given shots for, but I think that these are the games that are definitely worth keeping an eyeball on, seeing how they come out. Some of them are really far away, we don't know too much, so I'm going to quickly run through this list, which is only a top 5, and there are like a dozen or so games upcoming because, oh my gosh, Pokemon. People who grew up with Pokemon, starting to get older, starting to make some games, and we're seeing some really cool things. I'm showing some of them, but a lot of them, I don't know. It's such a dominated genre. And speaking of that, these games have some big twists and turns, so don't worry about just being pure clones or half-hearted attempts. I think that these Pokemon likes are not just like Pokemon. Either they focus on the lifestyle aspects, or maybe it's totally focused on competitive, or maybe it's completely like adding in or mixing with a different genre. You're gonna have fun with at least one, I promise. So, yeah, intro aside, let's jump into the top 5. Alright guys, so we're gonna start off the list by a game called Kindred. This is a very little known game that was just recently announced here. And essentially what it looks like is it's like open world, almost like DayZ meets Pokemon. At least that's the vibe I'm getting from the trailer. And if I had to guess what the end game is going to really result in, it's probably going to look a lot like a lot of the experimental, like Unreal and Unity sort of open world style Pokemon games that we've saw, like the fan games. Like you can just look up like Pokemon open world combat game, and this game looks just like that. In fact, I wouldn't doubt if some people who made some of those experimental demos actually went on to they're like, well, we'll just make our own. Let's make our own monsters. Let's make our own game. Obviously, we're gonna do it because Game Freak ain't gonna do it. Skyrim-y, running around with Vulpixies kind of experience. And I don't know, if you want this sort of experience to any sort of quality, really, you got to play like some Minecraft mods, or is there a Skyrim mod where you can play with Pokemon? That'd be kind of cool. There's really very few games that have anything on this style of gameplay, and so it's really cool that Kindred is going to make the attempt. Will it succeed? Who knows? It's freaking ambitious, and the trailer is really weird, but hey, we'll give it a shot. Coming in number 4, guys, for the game that I'm most excited about is Monster Sanctuary, which is basically Pokemon mixed with Metroid. Even though there's not like crazy action shooting mechanics, what you do have is collecting monsters, raising monsters, all the RPG paper doll that's going to go with that, and then also platforming, which is pretty crazy. So I know it's definitely like a very weird perspective shift, but just to kind of get you in the mindset, if you think about it, the baseline Pokemon games are kind of Metroidvania. I mean, they're not action games at all, which would be cool, which is why we're excited for Kindred. But Monster Sanctuary, is similar because, you're going to be unlocking different parts of the map by getting different items. But in Pokemon, you kind of did the same. You had different items that unlock different parts of the map. You had different abilities, HMs mainly, that unlock different parts of the map, and of course the badges and such. So really, is it that big of a departure? It's going to look like it, but I think in the end, a lot of people who enjoy Pokemon are going to like this fresh twist face of the Pokemon genre. And halfway on the list, I'm talking about Re-Legend. Re-Legend, in terms of quality with its graphics, looks pretty good, I think. I think it's going to appeal to a crowd that is far thrown away from the other half side of Pokemon, which is generally you have the super casual crowd, the cute collecting crowd, who really enjoys the cuteness factor of Pokemon, and then you have the super hyper competitive. So games generally teeter on one or the other, and Re-Legend seems like it's going to be for that, the actual collecting and that lifestyle sort of feel, which is great because this is truly a lifestyle, life simulated JRPG that's cooperative monster raising. That's freaking sweet, especially because a lot of these games aren't cooperative. Even some of the, from the casual to the competitive, a lot of them just kind of fall away with the online aspect. So this one I'm definitely looking forward to, especially seeing the polish, and it's coming to all platforms pretty much, Switch, Xbox, PS4, and Steam. That's super freaking crazy. Now, how this is all going to play out, I don't know. Is it going to truly be engrossing, or is it going to be a chore simulator? Does that even matter? Probably up to you, probably up to see, what the true quality of the game is going to be. But in the end, I'm throwing it down, that's my number 3. And coming off of that note, we have a game that is far flung away from the competitive scene, totally in the direction of completely casual collecting and farming, and that is Ooblets. And I just want to say that these little freaking Ooblets are gosh dang adorable, and I think this game is going to be very, very popular. I'm absolutely jumping into this one. I mean, you got little creatures named like Biddle, Bristlebud, Chiga, Ding Dong, what? The Clicky Claws, Clomper. Like it's just so freaking adorable. Oh my god, there's a Ooblet called Dumb Burb. Anyways, so the overall design is, to me, seems very Japanese, very like spirited away in some ways, just very Ghibli, very super duper cute and adorable. So you don't have like any sort of feeling of competition or testosterone-filled dragon knights or anything like that. Ooblets is definitely more focused on a world, maybe like this silly sort of casual experience, focused on farming and life simulation with Ooblets that happen to enrich the world versus, you know, all of your gameplay being totally tied into raising and battling monsters. So whether you consider that a Pokemon-like or not, it's still about collecting creatures. The game is still called Ooblets, about these little creatures that are so freaking adorable, called Ooblets. I think that this is a game, yes, while very themed very differently, I think a lot of you guys who enjoy the collecting aspect of Pokemon will have fun with some Ooblets. And right before we actually get to number one, wanted to waste some more time, gotta hit 10 minutes, right? Just kidding. But we gotta talk about Pokemon Masters. And some of you guys would say that's cheating. That's a Pokemon game. That's an officially licensed Pokemon game. And in many ways, obviously using the literal art and actual Pokemon, and well, it's an official Pokemon game. And mechanically, it's also very similar to the mainline games, at least in terms of battle mechanics to an extent. But this is a mobile title, and I really love that they're actually taking the animation, you know, the characters from the anime, or the world setting of the video games, and putting those gym leaders in as a focus as well, the Pokemon Masters. Is this going to be a gacha game? What are they going to do to, you know, monetize the crap out of this title? I don't know, but I'm sure the mechanics are going to be an interesting twist. We're collecting masters, and they actually have abilities that they can use uniquely with the Pokemon, actually putting the trainers in the battle like you often see, especially in the freaking manga, but also in the anime. I think that this is a big enough departure from the mainline series to be considered a Pokemon-like. Honestly, if Pokemon Go was just coming out, I would also put it on this list. Just because it's official doesn't mean it's also not a departure in a way. So, you know, it's just an honorable mention, but definitely this is going to be a game that we're all going to be checking out. If you like Pokemon, of course, obviously, we're going to be checking out the offshoots, especially one that looks like this, that focuses on, well, masters fighting other masters. Because I want to be a Pokemon master. And finally, friends and family, the game that you probably knew, was going to be on the list, that's going to be Temtem. So this one is pretty well known, and when I covered it got some decent views, so I know my audience particularly wants me to play this game because it's touting itself as an MMO, and they've been very much promoting itself to the community that I actually partake in, such as, you know, Reddit /r MMORPG. The thing is, though, because I'm putting this at number one, but this gives me some room to kind of critique it a little bit, is that I don't really think it's really an MMO. I've played a lot of Pokemon MMO, you know, Bunny Ears MMO, and most often they don't actually include MMO mechanics. Just because you see a lot of people in the world doesn't mean you're really interacting with them. And Temtem, I don't know what mechanics they're really going to focus on because it seems like they're missing a lot of the life sim features that could make this a very social title. Really, Temtem is going to be the opposite of Re-Legend and Ooblets, and it's going to be totally focused on competitive fights. So all of the mechanic, little tiny twists and turns, like obviously the game looks just like Pokemon, it seems like it's going to play just like Pokemon. There's a lot of little twists and turns that make it totally focused on being an esport, essentially, which I think would be really fantastic. And especially with the fact that the newest Pokemon game is apparently gutting the decks. Yeah, I think a lot of people are looking to bring their competitiveness to a different game, maybe. Or maybe we'll just play the ROM hacks like a lot of people already do anyways. I don't know, but Temtem also has a cooperative like storyline that you can run through, but we still have to see what those online features really evolve into. They can say one thing, they can have the bullet points on the Kickstarter, but how it actually plays out, I need to see, because this, being claimed as an MMO, is a game as a service. So how often are they updating the Pokemon? How often are they holding tournaments? Things like that. What is the reward for playing? I need to know that. But anyways, in terms of polish and in terms of being a pure Pokemon-like, basically, you know, it is essentially a Pokemon clone, then this is obviously going to be number 1. So guys, that's it for my top 5 Pokemon likes, plus 1 honorable mention, which is an official game. But anyways, what are some games that you were excited for? And I know there's a lot of them, so if I missed one, shout it out in the comments below. This is a community effort anyways, and I just want to say thank you so much for joining the community, friends, and family. And if you want to support me actually buying these games, playing these games, and streaming them over at twitch.tv/Skylent, well, go follow. Also peel some eyeballs on the Patreon so I can actually afford to buy these games and do those reviews. I love talking about new games, but I also love doing top 10s where I actually am more playing and reviewing the games too. So let's keep the hype alive. All I can ask is, well, I hope you have fun. And I will see you in the next one.